Hello, my name is Grisel, and I will be presenting to you the solution-focused brief therapy, which is the type of therapy that I chose to apply to my case that was assigned to me. Before I go into the therapy and the type of techniques that I would use or used in my role play, I'm going to briefly describe my case, in which is about a homosexual couple in which go into seeking for advice. One of the partner is looking to be appreciated by her partner because she feels that she's unappreciated by everything that she does towards her partner. While on the other hand, her partner says that she feels that she has to constantly prove herself to her partner, to constantly prove that she does appreciate her partners with little things that she does for her, as well as her love for her partners. Now let's go into the type of therapy. Before the techniques, I'm going to slowly define or explain or go into a little bit of detail of what this type of therapy is. It is a part of postmodern approach, or it's a postmodern approach, should I say, is a future-focused, goal-oriented approach to brief therapy. It emphasizes strength and resilience of the person in therapy by focusing on exceptions to their problems and constructing solutions rather than problem solving. Builds on client resources, skills, and ability. Also, it encourages clients to do more of what works instead of trying harder to do things that does not work. So if it's not work, don't keep trying doing it in this type of therapy. Just try doing something else that does work. Also, it is a therapy that can be applied to many instances such as family therapy, individual therapy, substance abuse, group therapy, couples therapy, which is my case, school and parenting, etc. Also, this is a type of therapy that seems to be criticized as being overly simple, yet it is one of the therapeutic techniques that is not so easy to be proficient in it. To be proficient, it takes a lot of skill. Also, we're going to look at some rules and assumptions. Some of the rules and assumptions within this therapy is if it works, then keep doing it. If it's not broken, then do not fix it. If something in the relationship is not working, then try something new, something different. Small steps can lead to big changes. Change in life is inevitable, guys. Therefore, problems in life does not always happen, even though if it does, but not always. Also, find ways to cooperate with client. Know that the therapist is not the expert in this type of therapy, that the client is the expert of his or her own life, and the client is also in charge in constructing his or her own solution. In this case, is this couple, they're trying to find their own solution to the problem to make their relationship a better one. Also, there's a collaborative approach between the therapist towards the client. Also, you see three types of relationship, which is customer, complainant, and visitor. The complaining kind of customer or client, that is the complainant, he goes to the therapist asking, about how they could help in such way and describing their problem to the therapist. But the thing is that they do not look for themselves a goal or solution to solve their problem. On the other hand, they expect another person to solve the problem or solution, that it's not them, but the other person. The customer now is a type of client that goes towards the therapist and tells them the problem and is willing to work for a solution and find a goal to solve their problem. And the visitor, on the other hand, is a type of client that goes to the therapist and asks for help. Does not ask for help, my bad. On the contrary, it's just there because either a judge sent them, a parent sent them, or a spouse or partner sent them into therapy. Therefore, it's really hard sometimes for the therapist. It's not impossible, but the client, it's difficult for them because they don't see themselves as a problem or that they do not have a problem. And later on in the role play, you will see one or two of these types of relationship within the couple, the two partners, and the therapist. Also, there's different types of interventions that are going to be used for the role play and are part of this type of therapy. As a therapist, clients towards exceptions, as a therapist, you direct the client towards exceptions and for previous solutions, strengths, resources, and abilities. Also, you direct the client towards present and future orientation. You do not focus on the past. You give clients compliments. You encourage the client to keep working more on what is working. You orient the clients to clear, concrete, and specific goals, and you ask the client about pre-session changes. Also, you work on miracle questions, scaling questions, coping questions, exception questions. And as a therapist with the client, at the end of each session that you have with them, you take a break before each end of the sessions, in which as a therapist, you give feedback to the client, and also you could also assign some experiments and/or homework assignments that you give the client to complete throughout the week before you do the next therapy session. Miracle questions, in which are used. Some of these questions are used later on in the role play. A miracle question focuses on the future, of how the future would be without the problem that they're experiencing. The scaling question is a type of questions in which you scale from 1 through 10 how right now the problem is, or in the near future when the problem will be solved, how the relationship will be. Also, coping questions is questions that you help the client to find goals and how to cope with the problems and finding solution towards it. And exception questions are usually used as if the problem did not exist. What would happen if the problem did not exist, or it wouldn't be as intense. Lastly, we look at some brief couples therapy type of 7 steps or more or less, or you should say. You find awareness and education. You aware and educate the client of what is happening. You help the client to desire to move to closeness as a couple, to move closer rather than being defensive all the time. Also, owning both sides of the internal conflicts of the client is also something that, as a therapist, you should work with them. Also, find a partial resolution of internal conflicts, emphasizing the positive and generalized learning to new issues. Also, a very important one of them is emphasizing the positive, especially with this type of case with the couples. You should always emphasize the positive with them and show them more or less to complement each other and to do things together towards the goal and towards the solution, so that their problem is not there, or more or less get to accomplish you to make the relationship better. And now for the role. Hello, my name is Marcel. I'm gonna be your therapist for today. Have
Haley.
a seat, please. Thank you. So, Haley and Kristen,
Yes.
what brings you to my office today? To
That
therapy.
doesn't bring me here. Well, I feel unappreciated in this relationship. I'm always working in the house. I'm always cleaning, doing the dishes, making her breakfast, making her lunch, making her dinner. And I don't even get a thank you. We spend weeks without talking to one another. I'm a fitness professor. I spend my time training. And I have time to do all that for her. She doesn't have time for me.
Okay, so Kristen, now that she gave her part of her story, how she feels, how do you feel in the relationship at this point?
I just feel like she's not understanding, okay? Like, I have a very demanding job. I'm a nurse, and I have to be on call sometimes, and
I have a demanding job too.
I don't have the time to do what she wants me to do or how she wants me to be. I just don't know what to do anymore.
I have a demanding job too, and you see me doing everything for the house, everything for her.
Okay, so what I'm seeing from this picture at this moment is that you, Haley, feel kind of unappreciated.
I am unappreciated.
And Kristen, what I get from this whole thing is that you probably are trying to prove yourself to Haley in various ways, I guess, no? So, how long has this been happening in the relationship?
About 6 months.
So it's pretty recent, no?
Yes.
And you guys told me you guys were probably together for
6 years.
6 years?
Yeah, 6 years.
Okay. So now, the focus of this therapy is not just to only focus on the problem you guys are having as a couple, but also to focus on solutions to solve the problem. So the whole point of the next couple sessions is to construct solutions to these problems to make your
We need a
relationship
miracle, not a solution.
as a couple, better. So what goals or expectations do you guys are looking for out of the therapy?
I expect our relationship to get better out of this therapy. I mean, I'm here for a reason. I dragged her here for a reason too. I want this to work. I want us to
You
work.
didn't just only drive me here, okay? I had to ask for a day off in order to come here, okay? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
So what goals would you see then? What goals? Like, what goals, like solution goals, do you want to have for the?
Maybe
your
she can
relationship?
ask some days off.
I can ask for some days off. Okay, I have patients to take care of.
Okay, so at this moment, from a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, how do you guys see your relationship, Haley? How do you see your relationship?
A 3.
A 3. What about you, Kristen?
5.
A 5,
five.
really?
Okay, so how would you expect to see, these points, in the near future for your relationship, grow step by step? So in the near future, let's say that there's problems. Imagine that right now, you see yourself in a couple weeks, probably months, from now, your relationship without this problem, that you guys are having of you feeling unappreciated and you feeling that you have to prove yourself to Haley in probably some actions, to show that you do appreciate and love her. Let's say that this is not going on in the future, that everything is resolved and that you've taken your goals that and expectations, have been reached, those goals. How would you then rate or scale your relationship from 1 to 10?
It would be like when we were in college, and I'll rate it a 10.
A 10.
Yeah.
So how was that?
Wonderful.
It was
We had the
wonderful.
time of our lives.
But we didn't have the
spent time
careers we
together.
have now.
But we spent time together.
But did you see with those goals, with those things, with those little small actions, the differences of what it is now in your relationship?
Yes.
Why don't you apply some of those things that you guys used to do back in college? I mean,
Well, it's just that her career is it takes so much time from her. She doesn't have time for anything. Not even dinner.
okay. So I see what's going on. You guys, are trying to work things out. You guys care for each other apparently, because if not, you wouldn't be here in the first place, of course, listening. So why don't you guys? I assign you guys a homework. A homework or an assignment to do for the next couple weeks before you come in for your second session. Why don't you out throughout the week and weekend when you guys spend for each other, try not to nag at each other too much, and you try to, separate time a little bit for her, and try to see working out everything goals and seeing those little differences. So when we come back for the next session.